Hey, this is Craig for Digital People Folk, and today what I want to do is go over something that's happened to me, a new chapter of my life, and that is making a Japanese incorporation. So, started at the end of last year, and just want to go over some of the things that I went through. This might help somebody who's making a Japanese LLC this year. And let's run through it. This is all my opinions, so you don't have to do all of these things, but hopefully there's something in here that could help you out. So my first piece of advice is get an accountant. I believe that you should seek out a professional to help you with either starting the corporation, just setting it up, or while you're doing your monthly expenses and your tax adjustments, things like that. Get a professional to do that. I had a corporation that helped me with setting up with my company, also giving me advice on things like right way to name it. With naming, you can have a Japanese name and also a Latin letter name, plus also the documentation on what are your services and things like that, and just packaging things up and getting everything done right. Afterwards, even if they help you with setting it up, you still have to go and do a lot of things yourself, but they can at least advise you on the things that you need to do. That's why I think that it's very beneficial for you to have an accountant, or go with a company that can help you with your setup. Next is, after you set up your company, you should receive 3 hunkos. So these are the stamps. One is for the banks that you would use, and this is like a really nice looking one that you just use for the banks. Then there's another hunko that you use for stamping official documents, things like let's say contracts or with various companies that's not bank related. And then the last is a more general hunko that you would use for everyday things, that's not so sensitive. So you would get 3 hunkos, and again, if you go to a tax service or an accountant, they can explain what you actually use those for, and some of them can actually make them for you. It is extra, but I'd rather them do it than me looking around on how to pick out hanko designs. Next is your incorporation date, the Rokuyo. So this I've seen before, but didn't really understand it. And if you look at a Japanese calendar, you'll see these little kanji on the side that corresponds to the date. And what this is it's a system of days that are good to do certain things. So I've heard of it a long time ago, but really never had the need to use it or really fully understand it. So my accounting company, they went and explained that there's certain days that are good for business, and there's this site that I pulled this up so that I can explain it, which is seiyaku.com, and hopefully I remember to put the link in here. But like, for example, like the toe, there's tomobiki, which is good luck all day except for noon, and then there's some days which good luck in the morning, bad luck in the afternoon, or unlucky all day. So some people look at these days for when they want to have a wedding, or when they want to incorporate or have a special occasion. So this is something that the accounting company that I use advised for me, and I'm a numbers guy anyway, so I picked the day that looked good and also corresponded to this for good luck for the business. Next is registering a lot of different documents at the tax office. So even if you have an accounting accountant helping you with everything. There's a lot of things that you still need to do yourself. Depending on what ward or what city you're living in, you could have to go to 2 to 3 different places to register your business with the tax offices. My advice is when you do register to the tax offices that you also get multiple copies of your Inkan Shome for your company and the Tokibo Tohun, which is your basic proof that your company does exist. So these are, unfortunately, documents that, I know about the Inkan Shome because we also have a personal one, but the other documents, I wasn't using because I'm not a Japanese company before. So you get multiple copies, official copies, so that you can use later for the banks or any other things that you need to apply for, instead of having to go back each time. The next is setting up a virtual office. So there's a lot of services around that will help you by having a virtual office. Some of the services that they provide are they could answer your calls for your company and direct everything to you, or they can collect your mail and send it out to you. And initially, even if you begin as a personal virtual office without your company name, you can switch over, but make sure that you have one where you can have a lease under your company name. And this is important for other things which I'll describe later, like for example, your bank. So just make sure that there's some kind of contract. And the virtual offices, the good ones, are a little bit strict, where everything that comes to you really needs to have the name of the company on it, just so you're not just signing up as Craig and they're accepting everything that has Craig. It really has to be your company name, addressed as your company name. Next is have a Japanese website. So currently with my company, before I incorporated, I had an English website. That's because most of the things that I was doing, I needed English content on there. But after you incorporate in Japan, you do need a Japanese website. This will be useful for the banks that want to look at what you're doing. Some of the other things that you may apply for will also look at your company website. Some of the things that companies may want to list out is, services. Just make sure that it's in line to what you put with your company registration, because, the banks and other services can actually look that up. So you may also want to put what is your initial capital that you have for your company, whether it's million or 5 million or whatever. You should list it on your website, and also possibly a little bit about your team or your personal profile as to why you can succeed with this business that you are doing. But definitely, you can use services such as maybe Gingo.com. I have people around me who can help me with what I want for content on my site. A lot of it I can write myself, but I do want it to be very professional. So I definitely will get help with writing all the content for the website. Next, I advise you to start with a net bank. So, or either that or the post office bank accounts. The reason being is that it takes about a week or two to get this, as far as them approving it for you. And the barrier is really lower than the larger banks. And this way, when you need to make payments or keep everything under your company, you at least know that you have one bank. And this is good. Maybe even the larger banks may look at this. So in my experience, it took me about a week to get to get approved for my first bank account, which was a net bank. But you can't do everything with a net bank because there's no physical branches for a net bank. So it is limiting in the things that you can do, but it still is fully functional. They'll send you a bank card that you can use for online shopping for things that you need to expense. Plus, if you're using something like Money Forward or some accounting software that your accountant recommends, you can connect that bank account with the service so that your accountant can see all of your transactions and advise you. The next is moving to larger banks. After you have your first bank account, at the same time, you do want to apply for one of the larger banks, whether it's Sumitomo or, if you're in Chiba, maybe the Chiba Bank or Mizuho or UFJ. The reason you want to have this is because this will be the fully functional bank where, let's say, you have automatic transactions that need to be paid monthly, and they need to just subtract it from the bank account, and like some of the government things that you need to do, such as taxes and pensions, you need the larger banks, or you're basically paying it month over month by hand. So with larger banks, it takes a lot longer. It could take you 2 weeks to get all of the paperwork that you need for them ready and sent to them. Then after they confirm everything, it still may take another 3 weeks for them to review all of your documentation and get back to you. And there's no guarantee that they're going to open up your bank account. I know that in some other countries, you may think, wow, you need a business bank account. They just give it to you. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Currently, my company was just incorporated at the end of last year, so I'm still in the process of going through, getting the larger bank to approve me. But just wanted to go and let you know that it does take a while, and you would want to get one of the other net banks initially so that you can use for transactions initially. Next is your CEO salary. So unlike a person that you might sort of hire where you can change their monthly salary, at the whim, say, okay, I want to give you a raise. With the CEO, the salary is an expense to the company. So you have to set it up while you're setting up your company. And with that, you want to set up your payment schedule also. Like, for your company, are you going to pay your employees on the 15th? Is it going to be on the 25th? Is it at the end of the month? When does that start? All of that you do have to set when you're setting your salary, because when you go to some of the offices like the pension and taxes, you do have to state that to them. So I'm definitely not an expert on this. This is why the first thing I recommend is getting an accountant service to tell you what you can and what you can't do and what you really, just need to do. And one of the things I want to highlight is that you're not only paying the salary without taxes that you might see. Let's say that, and this is just, a number off of my head, let's say that it's 30,000 yen that you're paying the CEO each month. And again, this is just a number off my head. It's not, real. It's not something for depending on me or anything. It's just a number. Within that, you have to take out pension and also your health insurance rate. So when let's say that it's that from the 300,000 yen that it's taking out 50,000 yen for health insurance and the the pension. Now, your company is going to have to pay the same amount. So the amount the company has to pay would be 550,000 yen. So there is an additional cost to the company that they need to match whatever the insurance cost is or the pension cost. I didn't know this beforehand, and just wanted to make sure that you know this. So while you're setting up your own salary for CEO, you don't have to if you want to go lower or higher based on what that total amount is, you could. But also going to maybe the pension website, they have a table where they can sort of tell you what is the exact rates that needs to be paid. And again, that's not the only thing. From that salary, there also needs to be tax, like war tax, taken out. But yeah, I believe that is a lot of what I'm going through right now for setting up my company, and just wanted to provide insights to someone who is creating a company 2022 or later. So if you have any questions, please leave comments. I don't really know about the whole visa thing, because I'm on permanent. I got a permanent residency, so I don't have to as of this stage, I don't have to support a visa, my own, but later on, I'm pretty sure that I will have to support someone's visa, and I'll update and maybe make another video when that happens. But anyway, thank you all. This is Craig from Tokyo with Digital People Folk, signing out. Take care.